Back in the early days of gaming, a title would come with one main quest to complete, and that would be your lot. Save the princess from the gorilla, retrieve the Metroids, find the fragments of the Triforce, and if you've done that, well then, I don't know, have a cup of tea and start again, I suppose. These days though, players expect so much more from their interactive entertainment, and if a game doesn't come with at least a handful of side quests, there will be hell to pay. Not all side quests are created equal though, so for today's list, we've scoured the archives to find the best of the best when it comes to distractions from the main objective. In terms of what we're counting as a side quest, if it doesn't bring you any closer to completing the main thing a game wants you to do, it's a side quest in our book. Oh, and whilst we will try to avoid ruining any of these quests for you, a spoiler warning is very much in effect. I'm Ben from TripleJump, and here are the 10 best video game side quests of all time. Number 10. Witcher Wannabe, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. By and large, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is a fairly serious game, but it's not without its moments of levity. Take for example the side quest Witcher Wannabe, a mission which sees Geralt taking on his most dangerous foe yet, a man stupid enough to pretend he's a witcher. After completing the Merry Widow quest, players can happen upon a notice which will lead them to Lindenvale, and once they arrive, they'll find a disgruntled Elderman. He's hired a witcher to deal with a ghoul problem, but the supposed monster hunter has absconded after getting the Elderman's daughter pregnant. If you're up on your witcher lore, alarm bells should be going off at this point. Upon entering the cemetery, the fraudulent fiend finder can be found hiding from a single ghoul, something which should prove no problem for a real witcher. From there, what happens to the man is up to the player, but one thing's for certain, he won't be playing this brand of pretend ever again. It might be a simple quest, but it's a neat distraction from all of the Ciri finding and Gwent playing, plus you get to decide the punishment for impersonating a witcher, and yes, death is an option, a harsh one, but an option nonetheless. Number 9. Fuzz, Saints Row 2. If you're feeling a bit poorly, there's nothing better than curling up on the sofa with a hot drink and a few episodes of a cop show. We're not sure what it is about sipping a brew and watching some wrong-uns get their just desserts, but the practice does seem to have some healing properties. The devs behind Saints Row 2 clearly understood the appeal of the humble cop show as they decided to parody it in the 2008 sequel. In the side activity Fuzz, players are tasked with gathering footage for the in-universe version of Cops. The aim is to apprehend criminals, though in this instance apprehend seems to be another word for kill, all whilst a pursuing cameraman captures the carnage on tape. There are a couple of things to bear in mind though. The audience doesn't want to see the same thing over and over, so players will need to ensure they keep their takedowns fresh, plus producing a TV show is an expensive business. Time is money, so you'll need to get all of this done quick sharp. Ridiculous, action-packed, and teeming with carnage, Fuzz is the epitome of Saints Row's irreverent sense of humour. Number 8. Whodunit? The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. The Dark Brotherhood questline is generally one of the best in any Elder Scrolls game. After all, what's cooler than dressing all in black, sneaking around in the shadows and dispatching unsuspecting folks before slipping away into the night? It's the 4th Elder Scrolls title which has, in our opinion, the coolest Dark Brotherhood mission of them all. In Oblivion, players who join the Dark Brotherhood will be tasked with attending a fancy party. However, this is no usual late-night soiree, no sir, because all of the other guests are people a client wants dead. Players can simply enter the house and get stab happy, but this will cause them to forfeit their bonus. Instead, they should talk to each of the guests in turn, find out how best to get them alone, and then once they're tucked away where prying eyes won't be looking, then is the time to strike. The reason Whodunit is such a fan favourite is that it gives players a great deal of freedom to complete the objective how they see fit. Go in swords blazing and unleash hell? Sure, gather intel and get each individual alone before dispatching them. Go for it. Or simply sneak around and stab them in the back when no one's looking. You do you. Number 7. Epsilon Program. Grand Theft Auto 5. Sometimes when a game pokes fun at something in the real world, it will do it with such subtlety that some players might not even realise what it's doing. GTA 5 is not one of those games. Now, technically speaking, GTA 5's Epsilon program is a series of side quests rather than just the one, but the whole thing is great, so we're happy to give it a place on today's list. The Epsilon program is a religious cult in the GTA universe which serves as Rockstar's none-too-subtle jab at a certain real-world religion. After taking a personality test online, protagonist Michael DeSanta ends up enrolling in the Epsilon program and embarks on the path to enlightenment. The problem is that the way to achieve enlightenment is seemingly by donating increasingly large large sums of money to the religion, and undertaking a series of ridiculous tasks from stealing cars to walking through the desert for miles on end. As side stories go, the whole thing is rather ridiculous, but after numerous donations and a fair few hoops to jump through, the questline does come to a rather satisfying head, or a humorous one, depending on your choices. Number 6. The Pale Elf, Baldur's Gate 3. Considering how time-sensitive the main questline in Baldur's Gate 3 is, what with the whole Mind Flayer parasite in the brain thing, you wouldn't think TAV would have much time for mucking about with side quests, but you'd be completely wrong. In our opinion, the finest side quest in this entire game is the one that concerns itself with companion Astarion, a foppish elf with a big secret. He's a vampire. It really is quite obvious. Over the course of the game, players must build enough of a relationship with Astarion for him to reveal that he's a vampire spawn, essentially a slave to a fully fledged vampire, and has been kept in captivity, forced to feed off rats for hundreds of years. Now free of his master, Cazador, thanks to the parasite, he seeks not only revenge, but also a taste of the power that has been withheld from him for so long. Every activity in the questline, from attempting to translate the infernal scars on Astarion's back to the final showdown against Cazador, is gripping and at times heartbreaking, and the whole thing brings a huge amount of depth and nuance to Baldur's Gate 3's sassiest companion. Number 5. Shoot This Guy in the Face, Borderlands 2. A side quest doesn't have to be long, challenging, or emotionally taxing to stick with you. Sometimes it just needs to be the right amount of silly, as is the case with the Shoot This Guy in the Face quest from Borderlands 2. In the area known as the Highlands, Borderlands 2 players can stumble across an enemy by the name of Face McShooty. Unlike regular enemies, however, Face McShooty will not attack, and instead will simply demand that players shoot him in the face. It might seem like this is a trick to goad players into a tricky boss fight, but no. All Face McShooty wants is to fulfill his destiny by being shot in the face. Shoot him anywhere else, try and hit him with a melee weapon, or simply walk away and nothing will happen. But do as he asks and the quest's criteria will be completed. It's exactly the sort of silly humour we've come to expect from the Borderlands series, and it's easily one of the daftest and best side quests in all of gaming. Plus, you even get a cheeky achievement or trophy for the inconvenience, and you know me, I'll never turn down the opportunity to collect another shiny. Thank you! Number 4. Disciple of the New Order, Yakuza 0. Heard you like cults? So here's another one for you now. If you've played any of the Yakuza games, you'll know that they can be utterly ridiculous one moment, then completely heartfelt the next, and in our opinion, no one quest captures the goofy yet poignant spirit of the series quite like the Disciple of the New Order sub-story from Yakuza 0. At the beginning of the quest, protagonist Goro Majima sees a woman berating 2 members of a cult. Once she's done, she asks Majima for help, begging him to infiltrate the cult and deliver a message to her daughter, who is a current member. After claiming he wishes to join the cult, Majima is escorted inside, where he finds that, shockingly, the whole thing is a scam. The cult is demanding a tithe of 100,000 yen from each of its members, and the guru is using the setup to sleep with women. Gross. Before he can take on the guru, though, Majima must pass a test to see how much he's absorbed, one for which he can end up doing the hustle if he's not careful. It's a little bit silly, a little bit heartwarming, and when you finally get to kick the bejesus out of that lech of a guru, it's more than a little bit satisfying. Number 3. Election Day, Fallout 3. You might think that total nuclear annihilation of the planet would cause people to take pause for a moment and think, maybe we should all be working together for the collective betterment of society rather than engaging in petty squabbles over who's in charge. But if Fallout 3's Election Day quest is to be believed, then you'd be wrong. The Republic of Dave is a small farming settlement in the northeast of the capital wasteland, which is, at the point the Lone Wanderer happens upon it, run by a man named, you guessed it, Bob. Just joking, obviously. It's Dave. It's time for the local election, though, and Dave is keen to keep hold of his position. He's very pro-democracy, though, so won't be pulling any shenanigans, but he does ask the Lone Wanderer to speak to the other settlers and do a spot of canvassing. Here's the thing, though. If players feel like throwing a spanner in the works, they can encourage some of the other townsfolk to run for president and steal the ballot so that poor old Dave loses the election. Do we have bigger fish to fry? Yes, but also we kind of want to get Dave re-elected as well, so, we've got time. Number 2. Saving Solaire, Dark Souls. Ask any Dark Souls fan who their favourite NPC is, and it's highly likely they'll tell you Solaire of Astoria. He's a ray of sunshine in an otherwise awful world, plus his lovely little bucket helmet is sure to put a smile on anyone's face. What's even better is that should you jump through enough hoops, you're even able to save him from going insane and dying. Because that's what happens to everyone in Dark Souls. Lovely game. The first step to assuring Solaire's future is to simply find him. Players first meet him in the Undead Burg, and all they need to do is speak with him and exhaust all of his dialogue options. From there though, there's a laundry list of things to do. Players must join the Chaos Servant Covenant, find Solaire and Anor Londo, rank up the Chaos Servant Covenant, enter Lost Izalith through a secret path, and then kill the red-eyed Chaos Bug. Is this a lot of work to save just one NPC? Yes, but doing so means he can be summoned when you fight Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, at the end of the game, which makes the boss fight a walk in the park. And besides that, he's Solaire. You can't just abandon Miyazaki's favourite character to torment and death, can you? Number 1. The Game, Fable 3. If you've been a fan of the channel for a while, then you'll know we just love a spot of Dungeons and Dragons now and then. Will Penbotter ever find out who his real father is? Who knows? I don't. As much as we love rolling the odd D20 from time to time, though, I'm not sure how thrilled we'd be about being magically shrunk to the size of a miniature and forced to participate in a TTRPG for the amusement of a bunch of mages. In case you're wondering, this is exactly the fate that awaits the hero in Fable 3 when they're recruited to rescue Princess Phryxia as part of the Game side quest. You see, Princess Phryxia and the Baron who has supposedly kidnapped her are nothing more than fictional characters in a game of hollows and hobs, and the mages who have sent the hero on this quest are just a handful of standard nerds. Unfortunately though, the magic used to shrink the hero is very real, as are the monsters employed by the Baron, so players will need to have their wits about them. See? This is why you always do insight checks before agreeing to anything. You never know who's a legit wizard and who's just a massive dork.